normal. Well, let's go on this quick break. Why is it that when a woman marries a wealthy man, it is suddenly not love? But when a man does the same, it is tagged normal. Well, Regina Daniels is challenging this narrative. And all of this will be coming up later today on Trending. You do not want to miss that. Well, having that in mind, let me specially welcome you to Viewpoint on Atlantic TV, your #1 morning show that surely makes your day enjoyable. I am Mercy Irabo. And you know, on Viewpoint, we'll talk about the dailies, that's where we start from, and then we'll go to the dialogue and the news come around, and of course, the trending. And today's edition is going to be super amazing. And of course, you know, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. Well, we need to go on this quick break, and when we return, the dailies will be next. Welcome back, and now it's the dailies. For review this morning, we have 6 papers. We have The Punch, The Nation, The Guardian, Nigeria Tribune, Daily Trust, and Vanguard. And of course, you know, we always love to start with The Punch to see if it has its usual puncher. Now, let's see the lead story on The Punch. The lead story, Wike block defiance as PDP Board of Trusteeship insists on convention. The writer says PDP functions locks secretariat as Board of Trusteeship. Wike camp holds rival meetings. That very story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's look for some more leading stories still at the front page of the Punch newspaper. I predicted mass US visa, green card revocations, and this is coming from Wole Soyinka, and it's on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. Mawa fights for second term as 5 rivals close in. Interesting story on page 40 of the Punch newspaper. A 15% import tariff could make Nigeria fuel producing powerhouse. This is accredited to refiners, and it's on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. Trump's threat. The federal government engages diplomats, rallies military commanders. That very story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's take some more leading stories still at the front page of the Punch newspaper. Food imports soar 45% as local production of falters. That's very stories on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. A truck crushes Lagos tricycle to death. Injures 2, a very disturbing story on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Tinubu to open editors conference November 12. You can read more of that on page 35 of the Punch newspaper. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. Over 85 killed as flood wreaks havoc in Philippines, and that's a very disturbing, sad picture of the day. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Punch newspaper. Let's see what the Nation has for us. On the Nation this morning, the lead story, ministers defend Nigeria against Trump's targeted killings claim. National security remains a top priority for the Tinubu government. More of that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see some more leading stories still at the front page of the Nation. I was deceived into pleading to force charge, says Kanu. Well, we heard yesterday was supposed to be the last day for him to plead defense. Well, you can read more of that on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Ayawukap appeals ex parte, order allowing PDP convention. You can read more of that on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Exploitation, FCCPC short textile warehouses in Kano. That's various stories on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria backs 15% tariff on imported petrol and diesel. Well, that story is on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Nation. Nigeria's $2.35 billion Eurobonds records a $13 billion subscription. More of that story is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. The Senate uncovers $300 billion crude loss. That story is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Government to invest 12 billion naira in digital economy research. You can read more of that on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. That's the Vice President Kashim Shettima being received by Nigerian and Brazilian officials on arrival in Brazil for the 30th session of United Nations Climate Change Conference yesterday, and that took place in Brazil. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Nation newspaper. Let's check out the stories making it to the headlines of the Guardian newspaper. The lead story on the Guardian this morning: referendum call heightens over elitist constitution reform plot. More of that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Board of Trusteeship backs Damagun as Abdurraham-led PDP suspends convention, and you can read more of that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. A presidency manufacturers agree on privatization of power holdings and other refineries. You can read that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Stop celebrating worthless GDP figures. Osibanjo wants African governments. More of that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories. The Senate okays a 14-year jail term for Randy lecturers. You can read more of that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Again, federal government rejects CPC tag as Falana dismisses Trump's genocide claim. You can read that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Yeah, we still have some at the bottom mass. At Tinubu, Sultan Uzudima orders headline editors conference. All right, that's on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. Investors bet on Nigeria oversubscribed $2.25 billion Eurobond by 400%. That business story is on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. WMO predicts 2025 as Nigeria's second hottest year on record. More of that is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. Yeah, the picture of the day that the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, and the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, and Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, during a working visit to the Central Bank of Nigeria head office in Abuja on Tuesday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper. Let's check our stories making it to the headlines of the Nigerian Tribune. The lead story on the Nigerian Tribune this morning: federal government, Nigeria winning war against terrorism, ready to partner with US. We have lots of riders to that. Says over 17,000 suspects undergoing trial, 13,500 terrorists killed, 9,800 victims rescued. US-Nigeria cooperation resulted in delivery of a dozen Super Tucano aircraft, another dozen AHIZ Viper attack helicopters to be acquired by the NFA. Nigeria stands as model for religious diversity, democratic resilience, and this is accredited to TOGA. Trump lied to the world. Federal government must act, not lobby Washington. And this is accredited to Falana. More of the stories on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Yeah, YREPs threaten showdown over Tinubu's request for 1.150 trillion naira fresh loan. Demand full implementation of 2024 capital projects. 30% of 2025 projects. More of that is on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune. Senate in shock over $300 billion crude sales losses. That very story is on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria backs 15% petrol, diesel imports tariff. You can read more of that on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu, Sultan Uzodinma, other eminent persons for editors conference, and that's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Scientists develop gel to repair tooth enamel. Interesting story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Yeah, we still have one major one, PDP crisis. Board of Trusteeship appoints 6-member panel to reconcile warring groups. We have some riders to that. Board of Trusteeships move nullity, announce camp, appeals Oyo High Court ruling, invasion of PDP office, direct assault on democratic values, and this is accredited to Body Judge. More of that is on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's see what we have as the picture of the day. Yeah, still talking about the walking visit to the CBN head office in Abuja, and that's the CBN governor, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, and the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku. Well, they went to pay a walking visit to the CBN head office in Abuja on Tuesday. Well, that's all we'll be taking this morning on the Nigerian Tribune. Let's see what we have on the Daily Trust. The lead story on the Daily Trust this morning: contractors protest as National Assembly for a second day. Yeah, that's the second day of the protest at the National Assembly. Well, you can read more of that on page 3, 4, and 5. It's a big story on the Daily Trust this morning. National Assembly okays 14-year jail term for sexual harassment in schools. More of that is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Ex-NSA Abdullahil Muhammad dies at 86. That very story is on page 21 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Cholera kills 10 in Adamawa local government. That's a very disturbing story on page 21 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Nigeria rejects country of particular concern designation. Well, we've been seeing all of that since Trump made that threat. But that very story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. 2 children die after falling into wells. Still very disturbing and disheartening story on page 24 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Kakistocrats running Nigeria, and this is coming from Odume, and it's on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. A federal government more says of refineries. You can get more of that on page 39 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's take a look at the picture of the day on the Daily Trust newspaper. Members of all Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria barricades entrance to the National Assembly Abuja yesterday over debts. Yeah, that's the lead story that still highlights from the lead story. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's see what the Vanguard has for us this morning. The lead story on the Vanguard reads: a foreign lobby seized fueling genocide claims in Nigeria, and this is accredited to the federal government. We have lots of riders to that. Discloses neutralization of 13,500 terrorists with 17,000 suspects arrested. Take notes of U.S. concerns about religious freedom violations. Moved to resolve area of misunderstanding via diplomatic channels. No targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria. Kayamo writes Trump. U.S. Senator Cruz vows to release names of officials involved in the religious persecution to hold them accountable. You won't dictate our foreign policy. U.S. lawmaker slams China over remarks on Nigeria. With all of that, when China backs Nigeria in all of this genocide issue. More of that story is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's $2.35 billion Eurobonds massively oversubscribed in excess of $10.65 billion. More of that story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Yeah, we still have some more lead stories, some more major ones still at the front page of the Vanguard. The Senate molds stiffer penalty for persons ripening fruits with harmful chemicals. Yeah, I think this is a good one. It's on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. ASU accuses Minister of misleading Nigerians, threatens to resume strike. Please, we do not want more strikes. Anyways, that story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories. PDP crisis. A board of trusteeship stays neutral, urges reconciliation. Mohammed-led NWC calls off convention as leadership crisis boils over. You can get more of that on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Alleged terrorism, you have last chance to defend yourself, court tells Kano. That's interesting stories on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper. At Tinubu, Sultan Uzodinma orders headline editors confab. Interesting story on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's telecom subscribers hit 173.5 million as broadband penetration reaches 49.3%. You can get more of that on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. A federal government sets up approval board for PDP project is a very interesting and major one on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the picture of the day, we're still talking about the official work visit to the CBN head office in Abuja on Tuesday by the CBN governor, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Economy. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Vanguard newspaper and generally on the papers. You know, time is really not a friend of man. So we've had really interesting headlines on all the dailies today, and do well to grab yourself a copy of any you find interesting. Well, we need to go on this quick break, and when we return, dialogue will be taking the center stage.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
A fresh bid for the National Assembly to shift the 2027 presidential and governorship elections to November 2026 have divided opposition parties. While some describe it as an attempt to extend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's stay in office, others agree it will strengthen Nigeria's electoral system if properly implemented. The proposal or the proposed part of sweeping amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act seek to move elections forward by about 6 months to allow all pre- and post litigations to be concluded before the May 29th, 2027 handover date. The proposal forms part of the draft amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act, which stipulates that elections for both offices must be held not later than 185 days before the expiration of the incumbent tenure on May 29th. At Monday's joint public hearing, the House Committee on Electoral Matters, chaired by Adebayo Balogun, argued that moving the polls to November 2026 would help ensure that all manner of election litigations are dispensed with before the swearing-in of winners. Balogun said the goal was to create enough time for the resolution and election petitions, as the committee also proposed an amendment that would reduce the 180 days of judiciary judgment to just 90 days, and also that the 90 days are expected of judgment by the appellate court up to 60 days by the Supreme Court, which will not exceed 180 days, he said. Well, whether it is intended to deal with the issue of litigations being resolved before swearing in or to help save costs, the recent amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act seems to be raising a whole lot of dust, with some agreeing to the proposed amendment and others just feeling that the ruling party wants to handwick the opposition, and hence a need for us to look at it on this lovely edition of Dialogue. And that is, we're looking at the proposed amendment to the Electoral Act by the National Assembly. And that's what we're taking a critical look at today on Dialogue. We're looking at the proposed amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act being proposed by the National Assembly and took center stage just on Monday this week as a means of seeing how they can bring forward the 2027 general elections to 6 months, and that's November of 2026. But anyways, to help us look at this issue, you do know on Dialogue, we always have a resource person to help us critically look at many of the major issues, and today will be no different. And hence, we have no other person. I like calling him Comrade. On the mining will say, well, he's a pastor. But anyway, I'm talking of no other person but Comrade Adebayo Gedigbe is of the executive director of the Value Rebate Center and director of studies of the Value Rebate Center. And also, you do know that he's also the state coordinator of the Transition Monitoring Group and also the side-by-side movement. Good morning and welcome to the show, Comrade Adebayo Gedigbe.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, sir, I would just like us to really look or go deep into the issues today, looking how really critical and serious it is in our electoral journey. Knowing that just last week, Thursday to be precise, the Council of State was briefed with the new introduction of the proposed INEC chairman. Mm-hmm. But anyways, all of this is still an act to seeing how we can broaden our electoral process. And looking at that very proposal being pushed forward by the National Assembly as it concerns amendments, I was opportune to also take a look at that very proposal. And one that I find interesting is Section 4, subsection 7, which states that election into the office of the President and Governor of the state shall be held not later than 180 days before the expiration of the term of those in office. And not only that, Section 4, subsection 5 of the proposed amendment process has been pushed by the National Assembly, says that also that State House of Assembly and also National Assembly should not be later than 185 days before also the expiration of their term in office, or rather the House stands dissolved. Now, analysts, if you look at that very push, it will put the timeline between 6 months before May 29th of 2027, which will now put the date up to November. Now, like is being stated by the National Assembly, is to deal with the issue of litigations, pre-post litigations. So I'm really a bit curious. What do you make of this very proposal? Because the opposition is already crying foul and saying it's just a push by the National Assembly to help elongate the tenure of Mr. President.
Okay, once again, thank you for having me. Yes, these are wonderful times, I will put it, in the Nigerian political landscape.
Yes.
This amendment could not have come at a better time than it's happening now.
Yeah.
And I wish that the National Assembly will do expeditiously, just like they used to pass, budgets within 1-2 sittings. I hope that happened in this amendment.
Okay.
Because this has been long awaited. Don't forget that this dispensation is already 2 years and going to have of their own 4 years tenure. And it's now that they see need to hurry up to do an amendment. It's such a worrisome development, though, but it's better late than never. So this amendment is most desirous for Nigerians. Okay. Irrespective of the opposition party, those who, call themselves opposition party, crying foul. There is nothing you do in this world today that will not come with some level of opposition. So okay. I just hope that the National Assembly should, stand their ground and ensure that the rights and the privileges of Nigerians are factored into whatever they are doing with regards to the amendment. And talking about the amendment, the area they are looking at, for me, they are most welcoming. One, ending all litigations before swearing in cannot be better served than as is happening now in the proposals. Because we've seen that people who are elected fraudulently get themselves into office and they use the patrimony of Nigeria to perpetrate, to discontent the process the more, infiltrating, the judiciary and all of it, using state machinery. All of that will be put to pass by this new arrangement. So it is a welcome development going by that. Then apart from that, there's another part of it that is so sweet to note that for us election observers, for instance, the security agencies, INEC staff and all of that, they've always been disenfranchised. Yeah. And it is a right of Nigerians to vote and be voted for as citizens. Yeah. That has not happened in the time past. So curing that is saying that, look, within a number of days before the expected 185 days, such persons should be allowed to vote early, like it's done in other climes. So I think these are very wonderful developments that will cure a lot of defects that we have experienced in the time past in our electioneering process.
Okay, I will still want to take you up on the issue of bringing the elections forward as being proposed by the National Assembly. Now, if you go to section 29, subsection 5, and section 84, subsection 14 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, it gives the Federal High Court the powers for pre-election issues. And if you take your mind back to 2022 elections, we had about 1,823 of such pre-election issues that were handled within a period of 19 days by these judges. And even if you take your mind up to the issue of having that go up to the appellate court and also to the Supreme Court, we had enough judges. We had almost 327 of these judges now redeployed to deal with these issues, and they had enough time to deal with some of the pre- and post-election issues. So my question, if we already have in our own Electoral Act a timeline for most of these issues to be dealt with, why now try to bring it forward? That's the question. Can we not stick with what we have already and see how we can indeed exhaust the timeline rather than bringing the elections forward, knowing that every other political party might be following this new timeline and will get themselves prepared before the 2027 general elections? Okay,
let me tell you, there's a bit of a difference in what you said. Now, the current 2022 Electoral Act as amended,
yes,
that is subject to another amendment now
by the National Assembly,
gave 180 days.
Yes.
First. For the first tribunal.
Of course.
Another 60 days for the second. Then, of course, another 60 days. So that makes it, a whole year.
Okay.
By the 2022 Electoral Act as amended. Yeah. But this one is going to quash it down to 180 days.
Okay.
That it has to run through the first tribunal, the second, and the third. Okay. So there is a reduction in the timeline to accommodate all litigation being dispensed of before May 29, 2027. So it's a welcome development. It is for Nigerians to align with this. And also, there should be clear, because it's a subject of impute. My input in this regard will be that there should be special courts other than the regular courts that deals with the enormity of elections, pre-election and even post-election litigations. Because we've suffered, Nigerians, those who lost, who feel that they've been rigged out of election, that want to seek justice at the tribunal, have been so frustrated by the cumbersome nature and the character of some of our judicial officers, with due respect to them, that also frustrate them. So if all of this is purely cured in the Electoral Act, it becomes clear. Okay. But when you shred it in some level of untoward actions by those who drive the process, you give them room to frustrate the genuineness of the process the more. So I am of the view that all of these processes should be well tied in the Electoral Act amendment so that it is clear. Post the Electoral Act being signed, there should be a lot of enlightenment on it so that Nigerians can come in terms with the reality. Because some will be wallowing in the Electoral Act of the past and doing things in that order, whereas there's a new norm that has been occasioned by the amendment. So, for me, it's a welcome development. I do hope that the speed of light is what the National Assembly should use in, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and as the case may be, so that between now and between now and the end of November, we are done with the Electoral Act amendment and it's up for Mr. President to sign into law so that the process of, primaries will kick off on time. Don't forget, the election, the INEC has already announced, dates, as it were. Yes. But with this amendment now, it has to cure all of that once it goes into office. And meaning that within the next 1 year, election cycle would have begun.
Okay. Now, I'll still take you back to this because we've had the opportunity of also hearing from the opposition party. Now, you agree with me that many of the opposition parties seems to be having internal issues, just like what we heard of the PDP postponing their next meeting indefinitely. Now, everybody seems to have already a mid timeline that they feel that they can work towards in achieving the purpose and getting ready for the 2027 elections. Now, if this goes ahead, it will definitely rattle these opposition parties in hitting that timeline that naturally would be there, putting the 2027 March elections away from what it is, February-March elections. Now, my question is, would it not have been fair if such move would have been made a year before? And when I mean a year before, maybe we're talking about this year, so at least they will understand that they need to plan. Because you agree with me that we barely have almost just 16 months to go before the general elections. So would this not be at least, knowing that most of these political parties seem not to have their art already in place, and would just want to, in every way, push them off the guard, not get them prepared?
No,
is that not what the ruling party, because that's what's been alleged by the PDP and also the ADC, that they seem to know that they are not really quite in order, and hence they are bringing this forward to see rattle their proposed plan.
No, if you ask me, for me, I think that's not a best way to respond to the reality of times. The only thing that is permanent in life is change. Yeah. And politicians are people that can do things, within 24 hours, 48 hours, they get their acts together. So it will be disservice, to those political parties if they begin to cry foul and not put their house in order. Politics is a game of interest, and you see what's happening today in Nigeria. The campaign is every day, and they like to decamp, they like to go where there is fanfare each time. Nobody wants to build. They don't want to take time to build. They want to get to where it's happening already. So that fever pitch is heightening by the daily, the campaign that we are seeing, dumping one party for another party and all of that. So for me, it is better late than never. I expressed this earlier when I started, that this would have long been done.
But don't you think it will favor the ruling party rather than the opposition parties?
No.
If the election is to be held in November, as been proposed by the National Assembly.
No, my brother. The opposition party should better organize themselves. Politics is about, maneuvering and scheming to get yourself on board. They should see the flaws of this current government and use it to talk to the electorate. Instead of this lamentation and not putting the house in order. It's not anybody's fault. Politics is a game of outwitting one another. They know it. Those who are in opposition today were in power before. Majority of them. And those in power today could be in opposition tomorrow. So it's about the permanent change that happens in the life cycle of a man. So for them to be crying foul and not begin to address those gaps that are inherent in their own system, they will be doing themselves disservice the more. That's what I speak to them. They should get more organized, better organized, so they can confront the ruling party who believes that they are doing so much. But it's for Nigerians to decide. It is not for them to be singing themselves every day in the newspapers, in everywhere they go, doing endorsement here and there. I laugh when I see them. If you do well, the people will speak. If you don't do well, the people will speak. But I do pray and hope that this amendment should cure all the defectiveness of what we have seen in the time past. So that talking about transmission from the unit level and the server become a determinant factor in arriving at who truly won election. All of these are the things that opposition should be drumming, so they can use that to possibly vote out those people they term not performing to the best of their own knowledge.
Now, funny enough, that also seems to be in a part of the amendment. I will come to that.
Okay.
But early in July this year, we also saw that the National Assembly began a move to deal with these electoral reforms. And we're talking about the 2022 amendment, electoral amendment Act. Now, they also in July proposed that all elections should be held in one day. We're talking about the governorship, presidential, House of Assembly, and also the State House of Assembly, and also the National Assembly. Now, I want your view on this, because what they told was that the issue of cost and also logistic will be dealt with if all of it happened in one day. But we've also seen the power of manipulation when all of these elections are done in one day. So I'm really a bit curious to get your view into this proposed amendment in having all our elections in one day. Is it possible? Is it fixable? And would it in every way help our electoral process?
If you ask me, it's highly possible. It's highly possible. People will speak to the impossibility of this are those people who want to manipulate the old order.
In what sense?
Oh, yes. One day. So, for instance, you have the president, the governor, the senator, the House of Rep member, and the House of Assembly member. How many are they? How many are they? They are just simply 5 to go. The governor and the House of Assembly for states, then president, senate, and the House of Rep for the federal government.
Yeah.
So one day, the contestants are contesting using one party. So print 5 forms. 5 forms. So I come out one day, I vote for who I want to vote for president, I vote for who I want to vote for senate, for House of Reps, for governor, and for House of Assembly. One day. We like wastage too much in this country. And anything that does not support wastage, we try to begin to oppose it. That's why those people are coming with those semantics and unnecessary ambiguity. If not, it is clear enough. 1, it will reduce costs.
Okay.
2, it will save lives more. Because how do you pull all Nigerians out for presidential and the National Assembly election one Saturday? Then give another 2 weeks. You pull the same set of people out again. How does it make economic sense for the nation and even for the individuals? The time I will use to go and, earn a living for myself, you used to call me out each time, and I could do that in once. It makes all economic sense to do it one day. For all intents and purposes, it makes economic sense to deal with it one day, because it is about my own right to determine who I want to vote for. And if the ballot is well stated, there are pictures, photographs, well stated, I know who would have spoken to my mind in the course of electionary campaign. I just go, cast my vote, and I stand to make sure my vote counts.
But would it not increase the incident of ringing? And the reason I'm asking is, we've seen cases of where our elections, we're talking of just the governorship and State House of Assembly, that sometimes kickstart pretty late and extends into the night. Just 2 elections. Sometimes we even have to carry them over to the next day. Now, having 5 major elections on one day, how possible is that when we cannot even accomplish 2?
No, we are not. See, let's get it right, because, you know, we are talking to Nigerians. Let's get it right. I've been observing election as far back up to 1991. I've been observing election. So what you see is a make-up by those who want to subvert the process, which is why we need to educate Nigerians well enough on the process so they know exactly what is expected of them. Manipulating the election is not done at the election venue, at the polling unit. That's not where the manipulation takes place. It's at the collation center. That's where manipulation comes. Which is why we are saying that in this amendment, let it be so explicit in the Electoral Act that transmission has to happen from the polling unit to the glare of all electorates. And that is transmitted from there to the server. And the backup end of the server becomes the determinant factor, that it must align with what translated from the polling unit down to the server, and not what happened in between. And we're even saying that, look, there should be no collation center, at the ward level or at any rack level, from the polling unit down to the local government, from the local government to the states, from the state down to the federal government, to INEC at the national level. It ends there. So all of those areas where you now have to take people to a ward collation center to now impute what came from the unit, and that's where you see mutilation of, you know, electoral materials and figures coming. Somebody just come from somewhere, use security agents to drive some toxic vote from somewhere and thrust them into the system, and at the end of the day, they are declared as though somebody has won. So all of that will now be put to an end. One, make everybody come one day, mobilize all your adult staffs well enough, sensitize Nigerian citizens to open their eyes for that one day, their civic responsibility to enthrone who governs them in the next 4 years. Let it be a duty that every citizen of this Nigeria of voting age owes the country. And we must be meticulous about it, and we must be duty-minded about it to ensure that that happens. Once this enlightenment happens, from now till when the election happens, I tell you the truth, those people who perpetrate themselves in office because they believe in the ringing machinery that they've, you know, lived their life all along, will become a thing of the past. So change is the only thing that is permanent in life. If you don't allow change, change will change you. So I'm speaking to those who believe that except it is rigging and manipulation, their life is never the same. It will be for them this time that there will not be that much of ringing and manipulation, but Nigeria will be better for it, so that the right people can be entrusted.
Well, I would need to really, in every way, disappoint you on that very ground. And the reason I will say this is, I was also, like I told you, I was opportune to look at this very draft coming from the National Assembly. And if you look at section 60, subsection 5 of this proposal, it gives all power to the presiding officer to either transmit the results manually or electronically. It gives them the power. And that's the proposal here. Now, they're saying you can either do it manually or electronically. And you would agree with me with what you're saying, that, like you've stated, most of all of these fraud being perpetrated in our electoral act seems to happen within that period of time. But what would you feel that if it's now been given that power to do it electronically or manually, should we still stick with the manual sense of transmission of results when we know how easy that can be manipulated? Or should we just go as every other developed client is going and do it electronically, but without us having the glitches we had in 2023?
My brother, Nigerians will resist any attempted calculated means for this current National Assembly to bring in manual and electronic.
But is there in the draft?
No, it's a draft. That's what I'm telling you. I say we will resist it. We will resist it. Nigerians, of course, I'm already lending my voice to resisting that toxic mindset by bringing in manually. And we know manual has been a major frustration in frustrating the genuineness of whatever Nigerian does. So, since we're already going digital, we are going technological, we must go it full swing. And not at some point you apply it and at another point you don't. So Nigerians, we cannot be a developing nation perpetually. It shouldn't be in perpetuity. Let us become a developed nation at some point. Since I was born, so many years back, Nigeria has been a developing nation. So when are we going to be a developed nation? So that all small nations that are coming after us become the developing nation. So we must, graduate deliberately. It has to be a deliberate effort from Nigerians. And that is why my challenge within the Nigerian space has been on the citizens. Yeah. Citizens have made themselves gullible each time. They of course, those in power have weaponized poverty. So at the pre-election time, they come with some, pittance and throw at them, and so they begin to see themselves as being remembered. After 3.5 years, suddenly 6 months to go, somebody come and knock your door, pay your child school fees, and you said he has done you heaven and earth. So all of this manipulation has to stop. For me, by the grace of God, you cannot manipulate me, because I know what I should know on the subject matter. And let this enlightenment go on and on and on for Nigerians. Clearly put, we will, from the civil society, and I'm calling on Nigerians to resist any anthem of manual transmission. If that is what we make this amendment not to say true, let it be. But we must vehemently resist any manual imputation to this whole process, because that has been the banana peel of the process. So resisting it is my recommendation.
But the electronic transmission of result not also be an issue during the 2023 general election, especially during the presidential election? Or did we not get glitches?
We got
glitches. Are we still, when we talk about electronic means of communication and also transmission of result, is it not a problem as it stands in Nigeria at the moment? So are our networks any better?
The antidote to that, let them restrict it to electronically transmitted result is the result that makes its way final to determining who wants the election. Let it be in the Electoral Act. Then let the man who will do the glitches come and tell us the glitches, so we can hold him. Because you had glitches in 2023. It is expected by all intent and purposes that in 2027 there shouldn't be those glitches. Except that they are going to now pay back to Nigerians all the taxpayers' money that they receive every day for 4 solid years. After 1 glitches, then another 4 years, we are still repeating that glitches. You know why all of this are happening? In Nigerians, offenders are not punished well enough. So people want to commit themselves deliberately, believing that not much will happen. That's one of the things that's happening. Among the recommendations I'm even adding is that, for election purposes in Nigeria, our regular courts are no longer fit good enough to handle same. Let's have specialized court, quasi-courts that deals with all of this issue, because they are emergency issues and they have to be dealt with emergently. Not the regular thing that people do. Nigerians, we are so ingenious in terms of doing things. They will always look for one way to subvert the process. The negative way and not the positive way. Whereas the Western world tends towards positive way of enhancing their life, but we reduce our own, by creating bottlenecks for ourselves, which makes it almost impossible for us to get up to where we should get to. So I'm saying that Nigerians should open their eyes. Thank God for this new topic that is on, the amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act, that some of us believe so much on. We were at the public hearing at the National Assembly. We made our own memoranda and all of that, and that made it. But for some few untidy ends, the Nigerian politician will cash in on that, and they will use it to manipulate the system. So all of those gaps that we have seen, we must block them. We must block them before 2027 election.
Well, anyway, in case you're watching and listening to us, it is Dialogue, and today we're talking about the proposed amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act as being proposed by the National Assembly. They had a joint sitting of the committee just on Monday, where some of these proposals were made forward, and that they are thinking into doing it and making sure that it's part of the amendment come the 2022 Electoral Amendment Act. Like I said, one of the major ones we've just had a clear discussion about is bringing forward the date of the elections, the general election that was proposed to be on February, March of 2027, the National Assembly thinks of bringing it 6 months forward. And we're talking about November of 2026. Also, we looked at another critical one, and is the issue of the transmission of a result by the presiding officer. Well, according to the draft that we do have a copy of, it says it should be done manually or electronically. But anyway, our guest seems not to agree with the manual part of it. But anyway, your thoughts and all of your reactions we'll truly appreciate towards the end of the show when you go drop your comments on our different social media platforms. Let's have your reactions to this proposed amendment, a draft being proposed by the National Assembly. But I would need to really come back to you. In case you're joining us, we still have no other person but Comrade Edewo Egedegbe. He's of the Value Rebate Center and State coordinator of the Transition Monitoring Group. Now, let's come back to you now, sir, because I'm still a bit curious about this very draft. And Section 2 of this proposed draft, I was opportune to also read through it, allows for early voting 14 days before the general election. And they said some Nigerians will be eligible to vote. And I'll just rather read what is being stated here. Now, they talked about officials of the Electoral Commission will be given that opportunity to vote 14 days before the election. Accredited observers and journalists, just like yourself, will be given that opportunity to vote. Ad hoc staff of the commission will be given that opportunity to vote. And also security agents will be given that opportunity to vote 14 days before the general election. And the reason they are doing this is not to disenfranchise any member or citizen of this country from exercising their franchise. Now, what do you make of this very act or proposal?
You know, that proposal came from the civil society. We actually brought that into bear because we want to participate. We don't want to be disenfranchised. We cannot be monitoring the process and we are not part of the process. Because I will have a candidate of interest who I believe in his manifesto that speaks to what I want for my country. But because we are observers, we move from one place to place, we may not be able to cast that vote. So this 14 days window is a welcome development, so we can also contribute to determining who becomes our president, who becomes our senator, who becomes our governor, House of Reps, and the House of Assembly. So it's a welcome development. However, how thorough will it be? It should also be factored in the Electoral Act amendment. So we don't leave it to the whims and caprice of INEC, staffs alone. Because we've seen that a lot of power were given to INEC to determine, the rules on election day. And they've turned so many things upside down over time. Which is why I'm saying that the role of INEC, as it should be cast on the Electoral Act. Yes, so that we are able to monitor them clearly. If you are asked to do XYZ, for instance, like the Act made it clear that we are 360 days to election, the date of election and all of that should be announced. And upon that, the man who just left now has announced the date, Mahmoud Yakub, has announced the date for the next election before this amendment is coming in now. So if this amendment comes, this amendment will cure that particular what will become defect as at the time the amendment will be coming in. So we should be deliberate about certain aspects of this process, if not every aspect, so that we don't give room to those manipulators to always feast on those small gaps. For us in the development sector, the civil society, we are very meticulous with what happens because lives are involved. The sovereignty of the nation is involved. So you cannot allow charlatans to come and just spew anything on us and we want to go, clapping for them. We won't do that. We go to the Western world. We holiday in America, in Canada, in London, England, Wales, and where have you. We go there and we pride ourselves so well, that we're Nigerians, and we do so well when we get out of there. But when we come back here, we don't translate those things that works in those climes to work in our own climb here. So what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? If our today will not be better than yesterday. You watch it from 1999 today, every successive administration is appearing worse than the previous. When the narrative, the dynamic should be the other way around. So we must be deliberate about reworking ourselves. I say it everywhere I have opportunity of speaking to my fellow Nigerians, that look, The destiny of every citizen is in his or her hand. What you do with it. Because this lamentation that we lament and be to blame people and not do what we are supposed to do is also not helping us. Let Nigerians, like we saw before the last election, where Nigerian youth came up to register. Registration is ongoing. It's a continuous thing. I hope Nigerian youths are registering to determine who governs them, and not how many 10,000, 20,000 they give you on election day. How much of these people do you know? How much of trust do you repose in them to be the people that should lead you in the next 4 years? All of this is a wake-up call for every citizen of this country who may well for Nigeria.
Okay, well, I'll need to bring you back to the draft, and I'm talking about Section 2 of this draft. Yeah, you talked about the civil society also having an input into this very proposal. Now, I'm a bit concerned about one part of this, and is the issue of the ad hoc staff and also members, staff of INEC itself participating in the elections. Now, it surprises me. How can a referee be a part of players in one team? And the reason I'm asking this, does it make any sense that the commission would also be voting for somebody there when they ought to be the umpire and referee? Would it not also amount to them taking side in the electoral process? So should it not be wise that we exclude them from this whole process, knowing that they are umpires in the process?
No. That will amount to discrimination. The 1999 Constitution, Chapter 4, if you take it from sections 33 to 45, it confers every Nigerian with equal rights. And the Constitution is superior to any other law, any other act. Whereas that Chapter 4 of the Constitution stands, and Section 33 that talks about your right to life, right to dignity of the human person, right to freedom of expression, right to participate in election, all of those rights are there. They are inalienable. So any attempt to make someone not to participate in what is first of all, foremost entitled to do, you are discriminating.
But you also said it that Nigerians have a way of circumventing the process.
No, I'm coming to that.
The umpires not circumvent this
I'm coming to that.
Picking a particular candidate they love.
No.
When they see it's not going his way, they circumvent the process.
The answer is no. Look at it clearly from the approach. Now, 14 days before the main election, the class of these people who will have major role to play on that day, they are not voting on that day alongside the other Nigerians. They will have opportunity of voting electronically. For instance, I want to vote for you for Senate. I cast my vote and his domicile on your portal is already there for you. How would that lead to manipulation? My friend there seated by the other side is also maybe an election observer or an INEC staff. He votes for somebody that he wants to vote to. That is the constitutional right we are talking about. That should not be infringed upon. That you are going to participate on the day of election, the general election, should not. That is why the crafters of that proposition came up that, look, let it be before the main day general election. So you can have the opportunity to vote for whoever is your choice. Then when other people vote cumulatively, we know who won the day. Not because you subverted anything in that regard. So it should be clear. You know, people who want to mislead the people, they will cash in on this and they will twist it other than the original intent and purpose for which this is brought in. I told you that asking for a special time for those who participate on election day duty to vote, like the security agents, the election observers, and INEC, and now the ad hoc staff, it is not to disenfranchise them as citizens, because we have also canvassed that every other law is subject under the constitution of the country, and the constitution confers us with those rights not to be discriminated against. So at any point that some people are not allowed to vote because of one thing, it's already amount to discrimination. So it is curing that discrimination, denying them the right to vote for somebody of their choice. That's what this new amendment is trying to cure in that regard.
Well, anyways, as much as we really deliberated on this proposal and the amendment of the 2022 Electoral Act. I would really need you to also give us an insight into the recent nomination of the INEC chairman, and we're talking about Joshua Amuputon. Yes, we do know that Mr. President has already submitted his name to the Senate for confirmation. And many persons were thinking, are we still going the line of having those from the academia and being a major critical stakeholders as being the electoral umpires chair? We've had almost in 3 successive roles, Professor Atere Ojega, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, now we're having Professor Joshua Amupeton. Now, my question is, are we not likely going to see a repeat of all we've seen before now? And is it not time that Nigerians should think into bringing somebody different from those from the academia? For example, one of the freest and fairest ever elections being held in Nigeria, adjudged to be one of the best, is that was conducted by Nwosu, who was never from the academia. So my question is, what do you really make out of the recent nominated INEC chairman? Are we going towards the line of professors?
Thank you. On this your program sometime, you remember my position on this.
Yes.
And I do told you and the world, I mean Nigerians, that my own prescription to how the INEC chairman should be, selected was that there should be a call for application. That was my own. But what the president has done now, the constitution has empowered him to have done so.
Yeah.
Because
he is working towards the ambit of the law.
The law. So he has done it within the current constitution that is in place. So he has right to have done what he has done. That aside, the choice of professors, I've always challenged this with due respect to professors. And I was expecting, in my own reasoning, that the woman from Abia State, that Professor Oti, who against all odds stood her ground, and I listened to the interview over and again. The woman said, if I perish, I perish. I won't do anything that will make my conscience to prick me at every second. I will not do it. I would rather do what I know is right in the sight of God, and in line with the oath that I took as a public servant in this country. And she damn all consequence and declare who the results that came from the repool that she superintended over and declare. That's why Governor Oti, Alex Oti, is the governor of an Abia State today. Now, I was expecting that if we want to even go in the route of professors, there is a professor that has carved a niche for herself in the sand of time. That professor would have been picked. And I believe that so many Nigerians would tumble for her. Because if she could have done that at that level of intimidation, of money politics, and all of the auxiliaries, then it's somebody that can be vouched for. Because we've seen her proof over time. But that was not to be. We saw a name that so many Nigerians may not have heard of in terms of, engaging in a public engagement, as it were, other than her university days, maybe his university days, and of course, his legal profession. Now, it's been, revealed, name sent to the National Assembly for confirmation. But I'm also aware that there have been barrage of strong opposition
towards his nomination.
Towards his nomination. And linking him to having worked with Mr. President. Bringing, of course, bias and suspicion and speculation in that order. So, I want to join the millions of Nigerians who believe that fairness can also happen in Nigeria. We are way toward the National Assembly. We do. But I'm not so surprised. I'm not so expecting anything too different. Because the other day, we had Aliu Dume, Senator Aliu Dume, who came on air to say that, look, what they do in the National Assembly is simply confirmation. They don't screen. That once anybody comes to them, it's assumed that it must have been screened by all the necessary screening agencies, security agencies, code of conduct, and all of it. So their own is just to just confirm. So if that is anything to go by, I shouldn't be expecting anything like maybe upset. But not take a bow. But no, not necessarily take a bow. But also with some ray of hope, we've also seen when people have been brought to the National Assembly, and if for a minister nominee the other time, in this current Tinubu's administration, was denied, was not cleared. And of course, one rec that time, one Onoche or so, was also denied based on some baggage that came with it. So it's the hope that is there at some level. Then, of course, the Nigerian factor, which we are trying to play down deliberately. Personally, me, I don't like when people say Nigerian factor in the negative. I do not want to subscribe to that. So we hope that the senators will see to those petitions that are before it with regards to Professor Amipiton and see and do Nigeria proud by not always confirming because it has come, then it must be confirmed. So that we can have opportunity of somebody that will be trusted with the process, and majority of Nigerians will say, yes, let's give this one a try.
Well, anyways, on that very note, we've come to the end of this lovely discussion of dialogue. And we talked greatly about the proposed amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act that puts the timeline, or rather brings the timeline a bit forward. And not only that, but also the issue of the transmission of results would be done manually or electronically. And also we talked about also adding or letting other Nigerians also have to participate in the elections. And we're talking about those, not just only the civil society observers per se, but ad hoc staff of also INEC and also other major persons from the security angle, as much as we're also looking at the choice of the new INEC chairman. But in all, we'll need to say that we truly appreciate the time with us. We're talking of no other person, but Comrade Edewo Egedegbe is of the Value Rebate Center and also the state coordinator of the Transition Monitoring Group and also a critical election observer. Hence, his input into this lovely discussion. We always do this, bring in resource persons that I feel will handle the discussion, and we're truly grateful for your time with us.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you, Robert.
Well, anyway, that's more of a wrap today on the show, and we'll always implore you that don't just end. Let's not just end here, but please, let's get your reaction as it concerns these discussion and other major discussions we've had on Dialogue. You can reach us on our different social media platforms. They'll be there on your screen, so you can, they are there already. You can reach us, comment, share, and most especially like. But we always love to get your reactions as it concerns all our topic. And you just might be surprised. We'll be reading them out and giving or accrediting or at least acknowledging your contribution to all that we've had on Dialogue. But for me, Michael Gobadia, God willing, we'll see you later. Bye for now.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor Edi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
How many dreamers are in the house? Okay, all of them are raised hand. Well done.
My name is Shalewa, a student from Eagle Mart International School, and I wish to become a software engineer and a data analyst to work with softwares like Google, Chrome, Safari, create my own website, create my own app, which people can use to change the world in both the medical profession, in both digital, and every aspect and area of the world.
Please, can we give Shalewa a round of applause? I'm committed to making sure that journey happens. We'll definitely be partnering with her. Well done. I love it. I love it when a girl comes out and says, I'm going to innovate. I'm going to build tech solutions for my future. And not just, did you see how she said for Google, for Chrome? I mean, say she not there think of for you. Now the world where she want, and my darling Shalewa, you will fulfill your destiny in the name of Jesus. Okay.
My name is Ronald Ombologbo from Rute International School. I want to become a doctor in the nearest future and a pharmacy, and also has my own hospital to be treating people and make them feel well and better.
Please, can you give him a round of applause? Just make sure, say when you become that doctor, now worry you go do first. Maybe not Jackpot go, because there are plenty doctors that are Jackpot. You will build your hospital here in Warri, so that the people of the world can come to Warri and receive excellent medical treatment from your services. Well done. Please give him a round of applause again.
Good day, everyone. My name is King David Obende. I'm a student of First Baptist Secondary School. My future, what I would like to become is a petroleum engineer, not just at that. I plan to merge tech, software engineering in a way that I'm able to meet the demands of the new petroleum society. Because I've been experienced in the petroleum industry. For the past 20 years, there's been a major decrease in mostly efficiency. Also, I would like to see in a way that I can.
I want him to speak your dream, speak it, talk it from inside of you.
Merge.
Please give him a round of applause. You see, the Warri child is not dull. We are not dull. We are brilliant. Say, I am brilliant. My dreams are valid. Your dreams are valid. Please, can you give him a round of applause? He wants to merge tech with petroleum to bring tech solutions to the petroleum industry. How old are you, sir? 15 years old.
Good day, everyone. My name is Amezi Shibuke Emmanuel. I would like to be the president of Nigeria.
Come on! Come on! How many of you will vote for him? Well done, well done. Please give him a round of applause. Well done. Thank you so much. And okay. I said the lady.
Good day, everyone. My name is Onehimuna Divine from Delta Secondary School. One of my dreams is becoming a large-scale farmer, and I would love to open a very big farm in between Delta State and Edo State. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Sharon Oguvu, and I'm the head girl of Wingate Model Schools. I aspire to be the first Minister of Education coming from Warri.
Come on!
And to put an end to the malpractice and injustice in the education field.
Wow! I am proud to be the Queen Consort of Warri Kingdom. I am proud. Wow! I only took 5 out of, I'm guessing how many children? 500 or so. How many are we? Okay, I only took 5. And from these dreams, there was tech, there was medicine, there was petroleum, there was presidency, hey! There was agriculture, and there was education. You see, there might be some of us that might think that, well, we can dream, but do dreams really come true?
future of the worried child is bold, bright, and limitless. Gone are those days where being from worry means that you are underestimated or being put in a box. Today, the worried child is breaking boundaries in education, innovation, and all things that they set their minds to. We are gathered right here live at the Brown Hill Coliseum in Warri, Delta State for the future of the worried child, a one-day seminar put together for secondary school students in Warri, Delta State, and its aim is to reshape and of course to remind these children that their dreams are valid and they can be anything that they want to be. We will be reshaping destinies and of course putting in the minds of these children that yes, greatness lies within them. The theme for this year is a very powerful one, Beyond Limits, Unlocking the Potential of the Worried Child. Now, this is not just another seminar, this is a movement, one that brings to the knowledge that every child has greatness inside of them. My name is NK and I'll be holding it down right here on the red carpet for Atlantic Media and TV, where we'll be having our special guests and of course we'll be having conversations with our speakers, distinguished guests, and of course our students who are here and ready to learn, to get inspired, and of course to go home with so much enlightenment. Join me on the red carpet as I interview great men and women who will be coming here today to experience this great history in the making.
The future of the worried child is in your mouth. And as long as they can't steal your voice, they cannot steal your future. God bless you all. God bless Ogiame Atuashe III. God bless the children of this great land. God bless Nigeria.
Child can do anything possible because we believe first God made them, and if God made them, God actually made them without limit. So we are trying to sell that dream back to them, no matter what they've been taught, no matter what they've been told, that the worried child is going beyond limit.
To unlock children's potential, it starts with you as the parent.
What we are here to do is to also put them in the direction of, as you are working, also get yourself checked.
Going beyond the limits, beyond unlocking your potential, knowing your place, owning your story, finding the obstacles, identifying them, leaning into the lessons that life throws at you. So generally speaking, it's all about honing yourself and looking around you to solve problems. When you are a problem solver, you will always have value.
I'm a product of worry, so today I am that future standing here, and for that reason I have no doubt the people that will come after us will do greater things.
I feel so amazed by everything that has been going on today. I am truly touched and I'm truly enlightened today.
I feel very nervous coming here, but meeting new people and seeing that, oh, like there are lots of opportunities. Thank you most for the opportunity that have given to us, the future of the worried child.
Future of the worried child is me. Thanks to the Corona Care Foundation.
The worried child. I want to firstly celebrate God Almighty. Please, can we jam our hands together? For the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the one that kept you and I alive. And I equally want to say thank you for Coral Care Foundation. Please, let's celebrate them. Then most importantly, celebrate yourself. If you don't celebrate yourself, nobody will celebrate you. It's a privilege being here. I'm here by the grace of God and by His mercies. Now, I want to say this to us. As children, we are supposed to be world changers. We are supposed to change our world. But there's a great saying by a great man. He says, if you want to change the world, the first thing you do is make up your bed when you wake up in the morning. Now I want to ask us, how many of us made our bed when we woke up this morning? I doubt. You want to change the world, the first thing you do is change your bed when you wake up in the morning. So say to yourself, I will make my bed tomorrow when I wake up. I like inspiring stories, just like the one our sister Ogene Tejiri rightly gave. Please, let's celebrate grace upon our life. God is taking you higher. Beyond limits, unlocking the potentials of the warrior child. While I was growing up, my mom and my dad, they were from the Anglican. And in the Anglican, they do what is called confirmation. I don't know how many of us know about that. When you give birth to a child, you do what is called confirmation. And during the confirmation, you give the child a name. And so the name they chose for me was John. And I loved it. I said, John, wow, that's beloved of Jesus. We're very dear to Jesus. But I think somewhere along the line, my mom looked at the Bible again and she saw that John's head was cut off. She saw John the Baptist, not John the Beloved. And she said, no, I don't want my son's head to be cut off. And so she changed the name at the 9 minutes from John to Moses. And one thing she forgot was that Moses did not enter the promised land. I will enter my promised land. Say to yourself, I will enter promised land. Yes, it's by grace. As the name Moses implied, if you study your Bible very well, you will see that Moses died and almost did not enter heaven because Satan stood to accuse him. I died once, I didn't make it to heaven. Jesus gave me a second chance. And that second chance is why I'm here to tell you. And what you need to make it, God will give to you today in the name of Jesus. Unlocking the potentials of the warrior child. Inspiring growth, excellence, and purpose. Introduction, overview of warrior's unique identity and youth culture, the challenges, hidden strengths, and warrior child, and beyond limit breaking mental, social, and economic barriers. Quickly, next slide. Now, you can see the overview of the warrior's identity and youth. A warrior, the city is in Niger Delta region of Nigeria and has a unique identity, vibrant youth, and we have what is called their cultural heritage, language, unique fashion, just like what we saw our wonderful mommy and sister rightly displayed. You can imagine, in fact, you are going around the world. Challenges and opportunity overall. Warrior's unique identity and youth culture are shaped by its history, culture, and resilience. The city's young people are driving forces behind its growth, creativity, and progress. And I tell you, you are going to turn the world around. Next slide, please. Now, you can see there's what is called the spirit of resilience and creativity in the warrior child. High exposure to street realities and survival instincts. These have made a lot of children from warrior to become noted. There's something I used to say. They say warrior they know they carry. I say, but why they know they carry first? It's not good to say they carry last, but you must carry first. Say, I will carry first. Potentials for innovation, leadership, and transformation. Next slide quickly. The current challenges, poor educational infrastructure, which is changing with the current things the government is giving. In fact, I want to salute Coral Care Foundation again, and I know they are being supported by the government. Please, let's clap together. Let's clap our hands together for what they are doing. And we know that the narratives will change. Peer pressure and cult influence, just like you saw NDLEA. You know, they talked about drug, and this has to do with peer pressure, cult influence. Now, what is reigning in the society now? Can anybody tell me? Oh, somebody has said it. I didn't say it from my mouth. Oh, you were the ones that said it. That is what is plus. That's what we are seeing now. People using their own parents for rituals. You can imagine a brother using the sister for rituals because of money. At the end, what will happen? All is vanity. Limited mentorship and positive role models. Economic hardship and unemployment are part of the challenges. Family instability and lack of guidance. Next slide. Now, the natural intelligence and creativity. You know, we have these untapped potentials. The natural intelligence and creativity, sports and entertainment talent, leadership and community influence, technological and adaptability, and problem-solving skills. Listen, there are so many innovations that have been made by people from this climb. And I know that we have intellectuals among us that will make Nigeria proud. Do I hear we echo amen? Unlocking the potentials. We have the educational reform, skills development, mentorship and role modeling, pre-entrepreneurship, innovation hubs, faith and moral reorientation. Faith and moral reorientation. Very, very important. And I will share a story at the end. Government and NGO partnership. Next slide. Next slide quickly. Now, the role of parents and guardians. They have roles to play. Just like our wonderful mommy and sister rightly said, her mom played a vital role in shaping our future. And you can see that our life is becoming better for this. So they have a place in the early character building, encouraging curiosity and learning, providing emotional support and moral guidance. Next slide, quickly. The roles of the schools and teachers, they have their own points to play. So teachers too have very important roles to play. Quickly, let's move on to the next slide. Now, the role of community leaders, creating safe spaces for youth, investing in youth centers, digital training, just like what Coral Foundation is doing, encouraging peace, unity, and volunteerism. Next slide. Now, these success stories from Warri Child. How many of us know this young girl, Adego Success? How many of us know her? She's this social media, the content, you can see, went viral from being sent home from school due to unpaid school fees. The parents could not pay her school fees. She was sent home. But despite promises of help, she claimed they weren't fulfilled. However, she's been featured in a Nollywood movie and continues to pursue her dreams. She pursued her dream. Say, I can. Yes, I can. You have a future. You have a role to play. Don't allow drugs to destroy the future that God has given to you. Listen, you have a promising future. If our mommy and sister here can fulfill purpose and destiny, you have no reason to fail. You have all been created with a unique identity. God gave each and every one of us DNA. Even twins don't have the same words. They don't have the same DNA. You were fearfully and wonderfully. Say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So next time, just like, our anchor rightly said, and somebody says, you are too tall or you are too short, just tell them I'm the right. God put me in consideration when he was making me. And so no one can be you. You are who God says you are. Next slide. Most importantly, heroes are made. They are not born. Nobody was born an hero. The only one that came from heaven to save us as the hero was Christ when he was given birth to. He was given birth to because his birth was divine, not ordinary. Heroes are made. Everyone that came here on earth became an hero, and you will become an hero too. So beyond the limit model, step, vision, pathway, we have one to discover our identity, purpose, and gift, develop skills and character and knowledge, deploy impact, innovation, and leadership. Next slide. Call to action. Let's say it together. Let's build the next generation of purpose-driven worry children. Community collaboration initiatives, mentorship, volunteer call. All lies on our shoulder. Next slide. Conclusion. Every worry child is a seed of. So I am a seed of. Together we can unlock potentials beyond limits. Now listen. I promised I was going to tell you a story so that we can conclude. You saw the slide that I showed. Faith, moral has a lot to do. The reason why we have moral decadence in our society is because truly a lot of people have lost their fear for God. In fact, many of us, we see God as our mate. True of us. The only time we go to God is when we want to ask. And we command God as if he's at our beck and call. Like some of us command the stewards that our parents employ for us. It's lack of respect. Respect is reciprocal. As children that we are, we need to have the fear of God, and we need to love our neighbors as ourselves. I told you, I died. I'm not a ghost. Ghosts don't carry a microphone. Only in Nigerian movies. And they don't walk about. God gave me a second chance. They were rightly talking about drugs, how they can affect our organs. And that's just the truth. When I died, I didn't make it to heaven. I was an assistant pastor. And so, being a pastor does not qualify you to make heaven. But I told you something. My mom changed my name to Moses. And lately, I discovered that in Romans chapter 9 and verse 15, God said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I choose to have mercy. And I said, God, was this why you showed me mercy? Because I know if anyone dies and he goes to hell, there is no second chance in hell. If you don't believe me, ask the rich man in Luke chapter 16. But God gave me a second chance so that I could let everyone know that truly there is heaven and there is hell. Children, we have destiny to fulfill. After we fulfill purpose and destiny here on earth, we will all go and stand before God, the righteous judge, the one that will ask us, how did you live your life? When you stand before him, how are you going to tell him you lived your life? You lived it for your own pleasure or to impact your generation. Worry child. Listen, I've studied something. In America, you hardly hear people say, I am from so-so local government, I'm from so-so state. all you hear is, I am American. When an American stands in front of the embassy and he says, I am an American, the embassy door is open. But in Nigeria here, we dwell more on culture. We dwell more on local government. We keep carrying local government origin and everything. What should suffice for us as a nation is that I am Nigerian. And that should open doors for us. I want to say to us as Warri children that let us leave an indelible mark, indelible landmark for others to emulate. Let them see Coral Care Foundation driving the force of Warri children beyond Delta states and propelling our destiny to generation untold. As a Warri child, which begins with you and I, we can do exploits together. Thank you very much.
Atlantic Media and TV Group.
Thank you very much for having me. I must say that today has been a very wonderful day. So I want us to just celebrate the leadership of Coral Care Foundation and the executives and everyone that has put in one effort or the other to make this a success. All right. Like they've rightly said, this afternoon I'm not going to be talking for too long. But everything I say will boil down to one quote. So I want us to listen and please try to follow. I know you've been here since morning and most of the students are tired. But I was really excited when I came in and then I saw a lot of students and then some of them came out here and were talking about their dreams and what they want to become. That was really, really exciting for me. And this is why. All right, so I'll just give you the quote and then I'll go from there. Is that okay, everybody? All right, so please listen. All right, so this is a quote. It is actually very simple. It says, where the mind goes, the man follows. Where the mind goes, the man follows. Where the mind goes, the man follows. Over 20 years ago, I heard somebody talk about this. I heard somebody make this quote, and that changed my life forever. And this was how. When I was a kid, there was a particular day we just gathered in the house, and I think some people came over to visit my parents. And while they were there, they began to ask questions. So my two elder brothers and then myself and a few other people came together and they were like, okay, what do you want to become? My elder brother said engineer. And they were like, oh, wow, that's great. And they asked someone else, what do you want to become? My younger sister said she wants to become a lawyer. Wonderful. So they asked me, what do you want to become? I thought about it. As at this particular point in time, I think I was probably like age 7 or thereabouts. So I thought about it and I said, I want to become a medical doctor. And my elder brother, as at this point, was in secondary school. And he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And everybody started laughing as well. So me, small boy now, I got the one that say, what thing happened? Why did they laugh? So while they were laughing, he now stopped and said, he said, do you know what it takes to become a medical doctor? He said, I know some people in my school. He was speaking now. Their elder brothers, they're in medical school. While they were in medical school, they read and read and read, and some of them went mad. People began to lose their mind, and he was giving all different instances and everything. He was just talking. So while he was talking and saying all of that, I waited and he finished talking. When he finished talking, I said, I have a question. Remember, as at this particular point in time, I was about 7 years old. So I said, I have a question. And they said, what's your question? I said, currently in this country, is there anyone that have succeeded to become a medical doctor? And they said, yes. Then I said, if someone at some point was able to become a medical doctor, I will become a medical doctor. That was what I told them. As at this particular point in time, age 7. Now, I did not understand what I was saying, but there was something in me as a worry pikin that we've heard today over and over again, and that is there is a form of resilience in the inside of us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Worry pikin, worry children, a worry child has this resilience, this mindset that no matter what happens, I can do it. So at that age, I did not even understand, but there was something in the inside of me that kept on telling me, you can do it. And because I was thinking like that, today I am a medical doctor.
But then, that's not the whole story. Listen, remember what I said from the beginning. Where the mind goes, the man follows. So because my mind kept on going there, my mind kept on going in that direction. My mind went in that direction so much so that I had this passion and this compassion for sick people. As a matter of fact, again one day, I do something for house, they beat me, as in they beat me well. Let me tell you the story. I was in the kitchen, and at night, while I was in the kitchen at night, I saw somebody outside the window. A man who was running around in our compound, and I could see that he was bleeding. So when I saw that, I think as at this point, I was probably like age 13, or probably less than that. So I saw him, he was bleeding in the middle of the night. So for my mind now, when it already don't go future, turn to medical doctor, I was now thinking that I should be able to help this man. That was how I opened the door. The man ran into our kitchen. A few minutes later, I started hearing noise. People were shouting and quarreling. All the boys for the area, they pursued him. I don't know, say the guy in a thief. He don't go thief. He jump fence, enter our compound. But I was already thinking like a doctor. So I was thinking, how can I help? I opened door. Thief run, enter our kitchen. My papa, my mama come. They chase the guy outside. So at the end of the day, I don't even know where wrong go, how the thing ended. But the point is this, yes, after that one, they beat me as in they flog me, better flog. But the point is this, because my mind already went ahead of myself, thinking about how to succeed in this area, my compassion was already moving in that area as well to see how I can help people medically. So, what am I trying to say? The future of Worry Child, it is not necessarily tomorrow. It is where your mind is today. Where your mind is today. So if in your mind you are able to get there, your body will get there as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? Students, do you understand what I'm saying? Then at some point, it now became difficult for me to get into medical school. I kept on writing JAM, and JAM was jamming me, and I was jamming JAM, and we kept on jamming ourselves and all this kind of stuff. It was difficult to get to medical school. And I remember my sister was talking earlier, and she was talking about how we were together, and we actually did our A-levels together at that particular point in time. But I was trying to get into medical school. It was a bit difficult. People began to make fun of me. As in, it was so bad that even my parents at some point, they began to make fun as well. They say, don't forget.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Hello and welcome to our daily news roundup. I am Nkechi Tejere. Here are our top stories. NRS to launch emergency passports for Nigerians abroad. Senate probes Buhari-era rail projects over repeated derailments. NICOM flags off NERA 2025 implementation with 3 reform teams. U.S. lawmaker backs Trump, slams China over Nigeria military threat role. Tottenham stand by Udogie after alleged gun threat in London. Now to the news in full. The Nigeria Immigration Service is set to introduce a new single travel emergency passport, a biometric document designed to assist Nigerians abroad whose passports are expired, lost, or stolen to return home securely. The new document, to be issued at designated Nigerian embassies and consulates, will be valid for single entry only, a measure aimed at ensuring verification and curbing identity fraud. NANDAP said the innovation is part of wider reforms to strengthen border governance, protect citizens' identities, and enhance service delivery. The high-level meeting also gathered representatives from ECOWAS, the AU, the EU, and several African and European countries to discuss joint strategies against human trafficking and migrant smuggling. The immigration boss reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to safer and more orderly migration through improved international cooperation. With the launch of the single travel emergency passport, the Immigration Service says stranded Nigerians abroad will soon have a secure, verifiable route back home. Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nana Nandap, announced the initiative in Abuja during a joint migration meeting co-hosted by Nigeria and France. She explained that the new passport will replace the current emergency travel certificate. It aligns with global identity management standards. The federal government says it will invest 12 billion naira in digital economy research projects to accelerate Nigeria's transformation into a knowledge-driven society. Tijani said the fund will support more than 55 ongoing and new research projects across Nigerian universities, with 3 key clusters focusing on artificial intelligence, connectivity, and digital skills. He explained that the initiative aims to boost innovation and bridge the gap between policy and technology adoption. The minister noted that Nigeria's performance at last year's ICE GOV earned it the hosting rights for the 2025 edition. Meanwhile, the chair of the ICE GOV Steering Committee, Professor Elsa Estevez, called for stronger global cooperation to manage the risks of artificial intelligence and safeguard the digital public space. Also speaking, Director General of NITDA, Kashifu Inua, disclosed that digital literacy will be fully integrated into Nigeria's school curriculum by 2026, in line with President Tinubu's directive. With a 12 billion naira investment, the federal government says it hopes to make Nigeria a regional hub for digital innovation, strengthen governance systems, and prepare its youthful population for the future of work. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, announced this at the opening of the 18th International Conference on Theory and Practice of Electronic Governance, ICE GOV, in Abuja. The Senate has opened an investigation into Nigeria's railway projects executed during the Buhari administration following multiple derailments and system failures on the Itakpe-Warri corridor. The decision followed a motion by Senator Ede Dafinone, who cited a string of derailments on the Ujuwu-Itakpe line just days after it resumed operations in October. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who presided over the session, questioned why multi-billion naira rail systems are failing barely a year after commissioning, describing the situation as unacceptable. The Senate also directed the Nigerian Railway Corporation to fix technical faults, restore full service nationwide, and present a comprehensive maintenance plan to the chamber. Several lawmakers, including Senators Abdul Ningi, Patrick Ndubueze, and Olamilekan Adiola, backed the motion calling for accountability and a total overhaul of the NRC. The Oshomole-led committee has 6 weeks to conclude its probe and submit findings to the Senate. The investigation comes amid growing public concern over frequent derailments and safety risks on the country's rail lines, raising new questions about the quality of past infrastructure projects. An ad hoc committee led by Senator Adams Oshemole has been set up to determine the cause of the repeated breakdowns, review the quality of materials used, and assess the integrity of ongoing maintenance. In Kano State, over 100 members of the All Progressives Congress APC, including a prominent woman leader, have defected to the new Nigeria People's Party. Welcoming the new members, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Alhaji Adamu Kibiya, describes the defection as a vote of confidence in the NNPP government. He assured the newcomers of equal opportunities and urged them to contribute actively to the party's growth. A statement from the ministry's Director of Public Enlightenment, Balarabe Kiru, confirmed the event took place on Wednesday in Kibiya. The new NNPP members say they are ready to work towards sustaining the governor's reform agenda in both local and state affairs. With this latest defection, political observers say the NNPP may be consolidating its grassroots strength in Kano ahead of future elections. The defectors, led by Hajia Sabuwa Tarai from Tarai community in Kibiya local government area, say their decision was inspired by Governor Abba Kyari Yusuf's ongoing development projects across the states. The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has rolled out its implementation roadmap for the National Insurance Industry Reform Agenda, NIRA 2025. NIRA 2025, signed into law in July, provides a blueprint for regulatory reform, digital transformation, and financial inclusion in Nigeria's insurance sector. Speaking at the event, Commissioner Omosain said the plan marks a coordinated journey towards a stronger and more transparent industry. He noted that the three working groups, compulsory insurance, digitization, and financial inclusion, will serve as engines of reform, ensuring that policies translate into measurable outcomes. The compulsory insurance group, chaired by Shola Tinubu, will focus on nationwide enforcement of mandatory insurance schemes. The digitization group, led by Adetola Adegbayi, will drive technology integration and innovation, while the financial inclusion group, chaired by Dr. Yeside Oyetayo, will expand insurance access to underserved populations. Omosain commended stakeholders for their support, urging collective action to redefine insurance as a tool for national growth and security. With the NIRA 2025 now entering full implementation, NICOM says it is confident the reforms will strengthen public trust and expand Nigeria's insurance footprint across all sectors. The announcement came at a high-level meeting in Abuja, where the Commissioner for Insurance, Olusegun Omosain, inaugurated 3 core working groups to drive reforms across the insurance value chain. Now on the business front, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says the country's crude oil output has climbed to 1.7 million barrels per day, with a new production target of 2 million barrels by 2027 and 3 million barrels in the long term. In a statement by NNPC's Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Andy Ode, Ojulari highlighted that renewed collaboration with international and indigenous oil companies, coupled with new government incentives, is boosting investor confidence. He also listed the near completion of key gas projects, including the Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Kano, and Obiafo Obrokom Oben pipelines, and the expansion of the presidential CNG initiatives as part of efforts to build a cleaner, more diversified energy future. Ojulari told delegates that NNPC aims to attract between $30 and $60 billion in fresh investments by 2030, working closely with OPEC partners and African national oil firms. He reaffirmed that Nigeria remains a central player in Africa's energy transition, calling for bold partnerships to eradicate energy poverty across the continent. The NNPC boss maintained that under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, Nigeria is transforming from an extractive economy into a competitive energy hub. Group Chief Executive Officer Bashir Ojulari made this known at the 2025 Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference, stressing that strategic reforms and stronger partnerships are driving Nigeria's oil sector recovery. On the foreign scene, tensions are rising as a U.S. lawmaker, Riley Moore, has backed Donald Trump's proposed military intervention in Nigeria, condemning China's warning against what's Beijing called unwarranted interference. The Chinese Foreign Ministry earlier warned Washington to stay out of Nigeria's internal affairs, insisting it stood firmly with the Nigerian government's sovereignty. Spokesperson Mao Ning said China opposes any country using religion or human rights as a pretext to threaten sanctions or military action. Meanwhile, Nigeria's federal government has urged Trump to respect its sovereignty and avoid deploying American troops. The standoff underscores growing global tensions as the U.S. debates how far it will go to defend religious freedom abroad and whether Nigeria could become the next flashpoint between Washington and Beijing. From Washington to Abuja, the diplomatic back and forth continues, with faith, politics, and power now colliding on the global stage. In a post on X, Moore said the U.S. had a moral duty to defend persecuted Christians in Nigeria, accusing China of hypocrisy over its own record on religious freedom. He declared, "China will not dictate our foreign policy," referencing reports that Beijing recently detained over 30 Christian pastors. Germany has officially banned a Muslim organization accused of anti-constitutional activities and promoting the idea of a global caliphate. Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt said Germany would not tolerate any group seeking to undermine the country from within. The group had drawn nationwide outrage in April 2024 after staging a protest in Hamburg where over 1,200 people gathered, chanting slogans such as "The Caliphate is the solution." Officials say Muslim Interactive, founded in 2020, will now be dissolved and all its assets seized. Hamburg's Interior Minister, Andy Groth, welcomed the crackdown, calling it a decisive move against extremism. Meanwhile, police also searched buildings in Berlin and Hesse linked to two other Islamist groups, Generation Islam and Realitate Islam, under separate investigations. Wednesday's action adds to a growing list of Islamist organizations banned in Germany as authorities intensify efforts to curb radical ideologies under the banner of religion. Police carried out early morning raids on 7 buildings in Hamburg as the Interior Ministry announced the ban on the group known as Muslim Interactive. Authorities say the organization openly rejected democratic values, women's rights, and fueled hostility towards Israel. And now on sports news, Tottenham Hotspur says they are standing firmly behind defender Destiny Udogie and his family after the player was allegedly threatened with a gun in London. The club, in a statement on Tuesday, said it has been offering full support to Udogie and his family since the incident and will continue to do so. According to police reports, the 22-year-old Italian international was confronted by an armed man in a North London suburb known to house several footballers. Authorities say another man in his 20s was also allegedly blackmailed and threatened by the same suspect. The Metropolitan Police confirmed no injuries were recorded. Despite the ordeal, Udogie was back in action, starting Tottenham's 4-0 Champions League win over Copenhagen on Tuesday night. Police say investigations are ongoing, while Tottenham have declined further comment due to the legal nature of the case. Police have confirmed that a 31-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the September incident and later released on bail as investigations continue. Rivers Hoopers guard Kelvin Amayo says fans should expect a bigger performance when the defending champions take to the court at the Final Four of the 2025 Nigeria Basketball Premier League later this month. Amayo says he joined the team just before the final 8, but has steadily grown into rhythm, promising an even better performance at the finals. Head coach Ogo Odaudu praised the team's consistency, but insists there's still work to do, especially on rebounding and defensive coordination ahead of the championship weekend. The Hoopers, who are chasing a record-extending 7th national crown, will face Lagos legends Boko City, Chiefs, and Nigeria Customs for the 2025 NBPL title. With home advantage in Port Harcourt and momentum on their side, the Rivers Hoopers say they are ready to defend their crown in style and put on what Amayo calls a bigger show. The Nigerian-Canadian star dropped 17 points to lead the Kingsmen past Kwara Falcons, sealing their place in Port Harcourt's showdown from November 20th to 24th. Amayo, who missed Hooper's earlier loss to Lagos legends due to fitness concerns, says he's now fully ready to dominate the finals. And with that, sports news will come to the end of our daily news roundup for today, right on Atlantic TV. Do also follow us on all our social media platforms for more news stories and headline updates. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nkechi Tejere. Have a good day.
Let's see how you're gonna rap now. His name is Jay. Everybody say Jay. In 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, let's go. Let's move it on. Say, let's go. Oh, let's move it on. Can I say, oh, we wanna party. Move it on. Oh, we wanna party. Come on, stand up. Oh, we wanna party. Oh yeah. Oh, we wanna party. We are here at the show. Chilling really nice. Oh, you all looking good. Thank you for the compliment, bro. You are looking very nice. Oh, look at her now. She's looking good. She's looking fresh. Look at her swag. He's looking kind of nice. Oh, give it up for her. Give it up for her.
In 5, and 4, and 3, 2, 1, go.
My God, he did for me. It's too short for me. Oh, as to be my loving daddy, he run out for me. Way out for day if you know be saying now because of you I the shine today. Your love will bust my brain. I go follow you every night today. Your love will cover me. Say blessing they follow me. Now you will hold my destiny. No they fear anything no. Say, put your couple. Find Jesus, join your papa. Find Jesus, join your papa. Find Jesus, join your papa. Say, according to your knowledge and your will for me, what you say is you. I don't need to because you are not a man that those that knows you will trust in you. Not the nonsense, no chariots. By the power of flesh, no man can prevail.
DJ Emmy.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. And 3, 2, 1, come on, Brian.
I was in a plane going to Spain. It's a plantain when the policeman came. He searched my pocket and he saw cocaine. He took me to the station and I can't explain. He gave me 12 knock on my head maintained. The liar, go to a fire, he will flog you with a wire. As Jeremiah in the book of Zechariah. Today Allah say, don't eat gala. Tomorrow na salad. Pray to God, make your soup not sour.
Pray to God in 5, and 4, and 3, 2, 1. Come come on the line.
Face me your location, this your bag. If you put me for attention, as it got pleasure, then I feel get some motivating your body, not temptation. Cause it's time I feel giving you my gesture. Mondo to be most da gboru o she mi we be were o ya ga wo she you know the see say ajojo gbedu e then talk say na be me be e sha am okay na you go come tell me now oh now make humility no go turn me malu because if I talk one they go like swallow me eh share one good share one bad share one real share one fake me I don't do again. See wins and they want shalom.
All right, T for Treasure, let's go.
Hey, my name is Treasure. I go put you all on pressure. They drive summer truck, can be anything on pressure. Ground full force full ground. When they see and they go any year, you go better. All of una fine, see us all of una fresh. I they blush all of una nothing contest. You see us are fine, I be fine but like this. Then they call me Blacky Poppy, I they rush off una beats. 12 midnight, we know they drive alone. Any year it's on the phone with them jet and they go. With them mash and they go, they mash and they go. Rev and they mash and they go.
They go.
You all know me very, very well. I'm not here to tell you about myself. I'm here to sing about you to the world. You all know me very well. I'm not gonna tell you about myself. I'm trying to sing about the world, yeah. Once upon a time, yeah, me, I was broke. No money, everywhere they shook. Can't entertain my visitors with coke. People come to my house, I can't give them any coke, yo. I never told me, and I'm...
Nice one.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, it's Trending O'Clock, and you know how we do it right here on Trending. We'll talk about all the trending stories and gist on the internet, and of course give our opinions about them. I am Mercy Erabo, and you know, once it's trending, I can never be alone in the studio. So who is joining us today? E to the N to the K to the A to the Y and K.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Mercy, for having me. You can never be alone on Trending.
I can never be alone.
Because the gist is not for one person.
It's not for one person, exactly. Thank you so much, NK, for always joining me. Yeah, without wasting time, let's just dive straight into today's gist. Regina Daniels is back in the headlines. And this time around, she is clapping back at those critics who kept on saying she married Ned Nwoko because of money. And she said, and I quote, "You guys should stop saying I got married to Ned Nwoko because of his money. I fell in love with him." Let's see the footage.
She warned me. My brothers warned me. Everybody warned me. Nobody's going to cry on this camera. Everybody warned me. And then I drove out at night. I was going to kill myself if I don't marry Ned. Everyone was looking for me. My brothers were fighting, breaking bottles like guys. The Nigerian police in Asaba video caught. As I was saying, everyone knew. I went to the police station and said, "Arrest me. My family does not want me to marry the love of my life." But I actually did fall in love. It's crazy, but I did. And I still care and respect him. That's love. What is love? Care and respect. And the only reason I am not fighting you, Ned, it's because I really want Mona and Khalifa's father's name to be strong, but they can answer mine. They can. You have enough kids to answer your name. Type shit. Guys, I'm done with this video.
Well, let's unpack all of this. So we know since 2019, they've had different opinions about Regina Daniels' marriage. Some said she married because of money. Some said she was greedy, and all of that. And just this week or last week, when the mom came to say they didn't actually marry out of greed or whatever, because Regina Daniels even sponsored Ned Nwoko's election campaigns with $50,000. And then you get to wonder. But now she's coming out to tell you, standing 10 toes tall, telling you, I did not marry because of money. I married because of love. And then I'm wondering, Enki, is it that like when you have huge age difference and financial difference, huge financial difference, do you still say this is love? Like age difference, financial difference, do you still say this is love?
When you say financial difference, maybe she should have her own money now. So, you know, watching that clip right now, it just felt like I was watching the movie scene because it felt like she was acting.
Exactly,
right?
I noticed that. I noticed that. It was, as for me, it was looking like...
finally, people have been looking forward to her speaking. And look, as your tea has been served really hot. But then again, she said quite a lot in that video, and saying that she married Ned out because she loved him. You can never tell. Maybe they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
So people see love differently. So if she felt Ned was the man for her, even though her family opposed it at first, and she still insisted on going with it, and now she is regretting her actions and everything. You know, it speaks to me of a mind reset.
Yeah.
You know, like someone who has discovered that, it's like I made a mistake. Now let's try to correct that mistake, and that's why we see all of these things going on. But then this is a development from what we talked about previously, and I don't even know whether I would say I hope they come back together, or I hope everyone just
with all of those linens that have been washed. Do you feel they might be able to come back together? I do not think they might be able to come back.
Ned is not. We have not heard Ned speak.
Well,
we only see posts on social media. We don't know whether someone is writing it for him.
Okay.
Yes. So sometimes it could be like that, but. You know, the other time when he talked about him pitying men who have one wife, right?
Who stands on one leg.
That stand on one.
It's better to stand on 4 legs.
So he said that in an interview on a TV station. You know, so let's hear him speak. Like your let's say ex-wife now, because she calls him ex-husband.
Yeah.
So she has come out to speak. So you two come out and clear the air with your mouth and with your face. Let us know what is really going on. But then again, I wish them all the best.
Yes, we wish them all the best. So I think she really made this video to clear her mother's name, because she felt some persons have been, in fact, they've been blaming her mother since 2019, and up till now, they're still blaming the mom. And now she's coming out to tell everybody that her mom was never involved. She told her mom she was going to kill herself if she was not allowed to marry Senator Ned, and now she has married Senator Ned, and seems like she's regretting all of this, but I don't know. I don't want to start assuming. So in a related development,
and it seems like the kids are not even with her.
Yeah. For her to say she would get her kids and all of that, fight for her children. Yeah. So in a related development, actress Mercy Johnson Okoje has taken to social media to call for the release of Sammy, the brother of Regina Daniels. Remember, Sammy was reportedly taken into police custody, and while full details of the incident are still unfolding, Mercy Johnson did not hesitate to speak up publicly, demanding his release and showing support for Regina's family, like she's given huge support to her goddaughter. That is interesting. Exactly. So let's see her post. I think we have Mercy Johnson's post where she talked about. She said the worst form of injustice is pretended justice. A child was arrested, no one can or has been allowed to see him for 2 days. He was flown from Lagos to Abuja and is allegedly being taken to court from the airport. How did we get here in Nigeria? Where is Samuel? Free Samuel Ojiago. Yeah, I think this is about to be a new trend. Hashtags free Samuel, hashtag free Samuel Ojiago.
Oh my goodness.
But the truth is, the Lagos police force came out, released a statement that they never arrested Sammy. That was what I saw.
Who arrested
They said
Sammy?
some persons, some police officials from Abuja that came for an official assignment in Lagos arrested Sammy. So in other words, they moved Sammy straight to Abuja from Lagos. So
On
right
whose
now,
orders?
we don't know where Sammy is, and we really want to know where Sammy is. Once you arrest somebody, you should also have access to his family, his lawyers, and all of that. So why arrest somebody as if it's an abduction?
Number one, on what grounds was he arrested? And who called for his arrest? So these are the questions that the Nigerian Police Force Abuja Division needs to come out and tell us.
Tell us, exactly.
Yes, because the family needs to know what he was arrested for.
Yeah.
They need to know who called for his arrest. If it's the senator, then he needs to come and answer questions. But this is becoming a serious case.
Yeah.
And I just hope that, you know, they do the needful and solve this whole issue, because it's becoming really serious. Because once the police is involved, before you know now, they are charging him to court. And what are they prosecuting him for? So these are some questions. Let's not, I think we should move past that era where we just do things lawlessly because we feel we have some sort of powers, connection, money, and all of that. Let's arrest people because they committed a crime, right? So I think the Nigerian police force should actually be credible enough to come and defend their name and answer questions.
Exactly. We really want to know what happened, though fingers are pointing, especially from Regina Daniels, stating that her husband allegedly arrested Sammy. But we want to know all of this, and this is going to, I think when the Abuja Division of Police comes out to tell us something, and then we'll be able to clarify all of these things without accusing people wrongly, without pointing fingers and all of that. So, well, this is a developing story. It's been on since over a week now, and definitely
I like the way more celebs are coming out to speak
exactly,
I think I saw a post by Yvonne Jegede.
Yeah.
She actually came out to speak, and I think a lot of people are now coming up just the way they did for Annie when she had her issue with the husband. So.
Well, so thank God for Regina. She has people to give her all of the support she needs. Well, it's a developing story. Once we get more updates, because the story is still unfolding, like we're yet to hear Ned Nwoko's part of the story, apart from when we saw that social media post tagging her as a drug addict and substance abuser and all of that. So we're looking forward to hear Ned Nwoko speak. So once we get more updates, we'll definitely bring them to you. Away from that, remember this very disturbing story we brought to you sometime this week about a man in Enugu that defiled his 2 kids. Well, there's an update, and it's one we need to talk about. The man identified as Ozioma Okonkwo, who was arrested after his wife reported to authorities that he allegedly defiled their 2 daughters and threatened to kill her if she ever exposed him. So yes, the latest, despite being in police custody, Mr. Ozioma has refused to write any statements regarding the allegations. He is still saying he never committed any of this, and this could actually be a setup. Let's see the footage.
You defend your children.
I defend my children?
Yes, of course.
I defend my children?
And I'm threatening her that if you leave the secret that you're going to kill her.
No. Hey!
Oh yeah, that is why
Jehovah!
Put it in writing.
Yahweh, this is not me.
Did you hear?
No. There's a mistake somewhere. Madam, what show Ozioma? Ozioma! Mua! So much.
You smoke weed, you talk rubbish. I say write it on
write the statement. If you need it on email.
Come on, write this thing. They tell me this about something.
I don't know you, don't know you. There is a statement in them.
They call God. God of weed.
And at the end of it,
sit down.
With this clip, it seems netizens are beginning to have a second thought to all of this issue, because the first time everybody was against the man, like, why would you defile your 2 daughters, like minors? And now I think they're having a kind of, should I say, a change of thoughts, double minds and all of that. But I was able to gather some of the reactions from netizens. Let's see some of the reactions we got on net. Let him write a statement, contact his lawyer while the police do their work by investigating. Medical records should be checked too. Yeah, he really needs to be checked. True. Let's see some more reactions. He should get a lawyer at least. I am not supporting such an act, but hope this isn't from a place of bitterness or other issues. Men go through a lot these days. They need to examine those children. Also check if he is mentally stable. It is well. Yeah. When I saw that clip, that was the first thing that came to my mind, that I think they really need to check this guy. He should not be writing any statement till he gets a lawyer. Nigerian police can be manipulative. Interesting comments. There are something you will hear, you will know it's almost impossible because it's a lie. Nobody can tell any mother on earth, especially here in Nigeria, that will just forge a lie that her current husband she's living with is raping their own biological daughter. Okay, this is still for the motion. Should I say for the motion? We have some people against the motion. Woman make accusation, them don't run handcuff puts for man hands. The man may be innocent, the woman may be saying the truth. So I would suggest medical examination, the truth will be out. Yeah, sure. This is heartbreaking. Protects the girls, investigates fully and prosecutes to the fullest extent of the law. No mercy for perpetrators. Exactly. So they arrested him without evidence just because the wife said, what if she just wants to get rid of him? Interesting. Do we still have more reactions? Could it be for money? They need to call the children to come and testify.
I was almost saying that.
I think the kids are just 2 and 5 years old. 2 and 5, yeah. I don't even know what to say anymore. Hopefully the truth comes out. Female police officers, no, they get any joy at all. Police are always unprofessional. Sorry, but this doesn't look true. They need to investigate this thoroughly. He needs a lawyer as soon as possible before he writes anything. Anyways, authorities are continuing investigations. Yeah, they need to investigate this because right now we are seeing other side of the story and we are asking ourselves, could this be true? Because the story, there are sometimes you get some stories, especially here on Trending, and you ask yourself, how could this be true? Like a father sleeping with, molesting his own daughters. And
not even stepdaughters.
Yes, his own daughters. And you just get to wonder, could this be true? I think the last time I said they need to take that man for some medical and psychological examination to know if he's properly okay. And now from this video, I was feeling some kind of way. I don't know if I was the only one.
Yeah, I feel some type of way also, you know, watching the video. I also felt like, you know, it just felt like I was watching the movie. But then again, if he's acting surprised that such allegation was laid on him, then it sparks serious concerns because he's been arrested now based on what the wife came to. Yeah. So I actually thought, or I actually wish they would have brought the wife in front of him to say the same thing in his front and watch his reaction. Because sometimes when you want to lie, there's a way you would just professionally do it and make it look like as if it's the truth, or you're the one that's the victim here. You know, so I really wish they can bring the wife in front of him and make so she can make the allegation once again and see his reaction. But then again, this is a very serious issue.
It's very serious,
and, yeah, he's entitled to a lawyer, so he should get a lawyer, but he has to write a statement.
Exactly, that was what they were asking him to write a statement. Just say your own parts of the story.
Before you write a statement. But you can actually write a statement with or without a lawyer.
Exactly.
Yeah, the statement is not to prosecute you or anything. It's just to say your
own side of the story. Exactly.
Yes.
So, in as much
investigations are going
on. Exactly. So this is a developing story. Investigations are going on, and we need a thorough investigations. And I feel there should be enough evidence. Probably take the children for checkup and all of that to know if there was any form of penetration or whatever, these are the things that need to be done, because we can't just arrest someone due to hearsay, without evidence and all of that, in as much as it's a very sensitive issue. But I feel sometimes people could just call out for rapes and all of that, maybe out of bitterness and all of that. So I feel all of these things should be thoroughly investigated, and then if he is found guilty, definitely he should serve his term. Exactly, he should serve his term, he should face the law. And if at the end of the day, the woman is actually the guilty one here, I don't know what to say.
She should also be given some punishment.
Exactly, of course she will. She will.
All the damages caused.
She will, definitely, if she's found guilty. So this is a developing story, and definitely once we get more updates, we'll definitely bring them to you. And as much as I want to go on and on with all of the stories, but sadly, time is not a friend of man. We have to wrap things up like right now. Well, I really enjoyed my time today, all from the dailies till now the trending. I've had a super amazing time, and thank you, NK, for always making trending interesting for me.
Wake me up and I'm here.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, so we really need to wrap things up, and this is where I have to tell you that you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. Well, this is where I have to tell you again that see you for another great and exciting edition of Viewpoint. Same time tomorrow. I remain Mercy Irabo. Do have a great day.